What is up, YouTube? If you made it this far, you've most likely watched part 1 and part 2 of my carb cycling series that both detail low carb day and medium carb day. If not, pause this video, hit the like button, go down to the description box below, and you're gonna see the links for the low carb day and the medium carb day, because you definitely wanna watch them in order, because there's gonna be some stuff I touched on in those that I'm only gonna gloss over here. So if you guys are ready to see what high carb day is all about and all of its untamed and carby glory, then yeah, stay tuned, because we are gonna make this happen. Let's do it. Alright guys, we are here at High Carb Day. Now, if you watched the previous 2 videos, this day is going to be pretty different. There's going to be some stuff that's going to stay kind of similar, but for the most part, we have some completely different things in here. Now, the thing about High Carb Day, right, is that the point of this, like I said in the previous videos, is to really spike your leptin levels up. So the goal is to just consume a ton of carbs, not going crazy with it. I'm not talking eating ice cream, stuff like that, but getting some nice complex source of carbohydrates, enjoying yourself a little bit, and making sure this diet is working for you 100%. So starting off with meal 1, by the way, once again, just like in the previous 2 videos, I'm not going to name the macros for each meal I'm eating, but you shall see them on the screen. So they will be there for you. Meal number 1. So this changed up. If you remember in the last 2 videos, we had 6 eggs and some spinach. Now we're strictly doing egg whites. Now the key with liquid egg whites is that you want to make sure you're seasoning them right, or else these things are disgusting. So a little garlic powder, a little bit of pepper seasoning makes these really good. But the goal with high carb day is to make sure we keep our fat low, right? We mainly want to make sure our calories stay at an acceptable level, but we don't need the fat today, and we don't want our calories going too high. So we opted out of the regular eggs. We're doing liquid egg whites. For those of you wondering how I do it, I just buy these liquid egg whites right here and I measure it out. This quantity in particular is 185 grams of liquid egg whites in here. So it gives us pure protein. And then we kept the oatmeal in from the last time, but we doubled up our quantity. So last time we had 40 grams on medium carb day. Now we have 80 grams of old-fashioned oatmeal here. So 54 grams of carbohydrates in here. And then I also throw in, because I'll add water, some cinnamon, I'll cook it, get it hot. Then I'll throw in some frozen berries, blueberries, whatever. This time I have strawberries. So I'll do 140 grams of frozen strawberries, get them down in there. Makes meal 1 really good, high in carbs, nutritious, micronutrient dense. Good to go. So after I have that, now I transition over into, and here's another thing too about making this whole process easier, right? Throughout low carb day, all the way through high carb day, I make sure that my chicken, my 8 ounces of my lean white meat, I keep that constant. That way I'm not like re-prepping and having to weigh stuff out. I make sure I keep that stuff constant. That way I'm not doing too much footwork, too much busy work getting this stuff ready. The main thing here is, once again, we have 212 grams or 8 ounces of white meat. So here it's chicken preferably, but now we have 200 grams of cooked white rice. So that really ups that carb content, and we also get our green veggies in here as well, 84 grams or 3 ounces. So this stayed kind of similar, except we quadrupled our rice amount. So we went from 50 grams of medium carb day, now we're at 200. And like I said, some people prefer to do all their carbs in like one sitting. I like to space mine out throughout the day. I feel like that keeps our insulin response lower. Our chance at gaining fat is a little lower as well. And I like the idea of having the carbs all day. It makes me look forward to the next meal. So you can compare chicken and broccoli to chicken, broccoli, and a lot of rice. And I salivate over that rice. When you haven't had carbs and you're on a carb cycling diet, you salivate over it. Stuff that someone that's not dieting might just think like, meh, rice? So now, moving on, we dropped the protein shake completely on high carb day. The thing with high carb day is macros typically, I try to keep fat as low as I possibly can, and I try to keep my protein at around a gram per pound of body weight. So we're kind of hitting the minimum requirements for protein, in my opinion. Keeping fat pretty much bottomed out. Most of the fat we're gonna get is gonna be side effects of some of the other foods we're having. And we raise carbs up high enough to where we're not totally destroying our calorie levels, but we're getting enough to where we can really spike that leptin and get our fat burning mode initiated. So now what I'm doing, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this stuff before, but Kashi Go Lean cereal. It's got some protein in it. It's about, if you're gonna buy cereal, about some of the healthiest cereal you can buy, but you get 40 grams of carbs per serving in this. So I typically like to do a bowl of this. I'll get about 2 servings in here, 80 grams of carbohydrates, lots of fiber, tastes really good too. It's a little different than getting like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, because here at least you're getting complex carbohydrates with a lot of fiber, a lot more micronutrient content, so you're not just eating just sugar. You can have sugar if you want, but I always recommend those complex carbohydrate sources. That way your insulin response stays lower. I think the body tends to react a little bit better to them though. That's my opinion. Some people have varying different opinions on this, but that's how I like to do it. And then what I'll do with this, grab this out of here. I'll throw some some unsweetened, 2 cups of unsweetened almond milk in there as well. No carbs in this, and this is the 2 cups of this is where 5 grams of our fat is coming from. So like I said, some of your fat comes from the side effect of some of the other foods we're using, but I would much rather have 5 grams of fat from this than have a bunch of sugar and stuff we didn't need. So unsweetened almond milk really makes this good. And typically I'll throw this in like a protein shaker or something if I'm traveling. That way when it's go time, I pop the lid off this container, dump the almond milk from the protein shake in here, and this is good to go. So cereal is a must. So try some of this Kashi if you have not yet. And then usually about meal 4, once again, we still got our staple meal in here, 212 grams or 8 ounces of chicken breast, another 200 grams of cooked white rice, then we got 84 grams or 3 ounces of some asparagus in there as well. So nothing crazy. These 2 meals, like I touched on a little bit before, these 8-ounce chicken meals or white meat meals, depending on what your preference is with the veggies, these remain constant throughout the entirety of the plan. Low carb day, medium carb day, high carb day. Makes prep way easier. You can still prep your chicken out for a week if you want to, and you're not worried about like, well, I gotta weigh this one for this day, weigh this one for this day. These remain constant. The only thing you gotta do is add your rice to them as you go. So that's how I prefer to carb cycle. If you got a little more time on your hands and you wanna get a little more intricate with it, you can, but like I always preach, the easiest path to follow is often your most surefire way to success. We get through here, and at this point, we've had a ton of carbs, right? What I'll typically do is I'll end my day off, kind of boring, but I would just do a cup of this Oikos 000 Greek yogurt, just because you get some carbohydrates in here, you get some fiber, but it is loaded with probiotics. So it really helps your digestive processes go through. If I have like a kombucha or something like that, I'll also drink one of those, because once again, loaded with those prebiotics. So it's just helping just all the digestive processes and everything run smoothly. So that's typically how I end my day. Nothing crazy here. This isn't a super intricate style of dieting, and it is a little boring, high carb day being the least boring of all the days. But this is the day that matters most. Now, if you truly want carb cycling to work, I know some people that instead of having their, let's say Sunday be their high carb day, Sunday is just their cheat day and they'll go eat whatever. But this does not work near as well if your other macronutrients aren't balanced out. If your protein's too high, if your fat's too high, and your body can't focus on simply using those carbs for recovery, for leptin restoration, for metabolic upregulation, then this plan just does not work near as well. So really tracking and not having that cheat meal, and if you can follow a carb cycling plan to a T, you will notice results almost immediately. So let me go through the overall macros for today. So high carb day puts us at 2,087 calories overall, right? Only 19 grams of fat throughout the entire day, and that's a drop from 70 grams of fat on low carb day, and we had 59 grams of fat on medium carb day. So as you can see, we really bottomed out our fat, and we get at least 5 from this. There's a little bit in the cereal, Greek yogurt. There's just a little bit of fat, trace amounts of it in these that's really giving us that content. We don't have a direct fat source. So no coconut oil this time or anything like that. Protein. So we started on low carb day with 249 grams. We went up a little bit on medium carb day to 257. But now on high carb day, just to make room for those extra calories for the carbohydrates, we've dropped down to 189 grams. So that's really close to my body weight. So that's essential for holding on to your muscle, for recovery and all that stuff, except we're not blowing it out. We're making sure we're hitting our goals, but we're not going over. We're keeping it right where we need to be. And then carbohydrates, this is where the big kicker is, right? So low carb day, we had 16 grams of carbohydrates. Medium carb day, we had 85 grams. So still fairly low carb. And then high carb day, 290 grams of carbohydrates. So it may not look like it looking at this, but there is a ton of carbs, So that's the biggest difference. And if we go over overall calories, low carb day had me at 1,690, medium carb day had me at 1,889, and high carb day 2,087. So the key to also making this program work, right? If you think about when I diet, I would say normally about 2,200 calories a day, which is kind of where I've been dieting at before I start this program. I've been steadily dropping weight at a good pace, holding on to size and being good. So I know that 2,200 or below that, I'm gonna drop weight on, right? So low carb day, we kind of take that to the extreme, 1,690 calories. So those days, I'm really in a deficit. My body's really hurting for energy, and it's gonna in turn go for the fat on me as fuel. Medium carb day, we go up to 1,889. That's still below that 2,200 calorie mark. So I know I'm still good, even though we've raised calories a little bit, I'm still below that. And then even on high carb day, now if I went and had a cheat meal and I went and binged, right? And my usual, I'm guilty of a jar of almond butter, going out to a restaurant, getting the chicken wings, the cheese and bacon fries, that could push my calories upwards of 10,000 sometimes. Maybe not 10,000, but let's just say, for example, let's say I have 4,000 calories, right? That stepped me back. Let's say I've had a 500 calorie deficit throughout the week, right? And that adds up to 4 days into my plan, I've burnt 2,000 extra calories. You can blow that out of the water with one cheat meal very easily, guys. That's why on high carb day, I stick to about 2,087 calories. So we are still 100 calories shy of where I am currently losing weight at. So we are still, even on that diet with those calorie levels, still making awesome progress, except we're getting all those extra carbohydrates in. So it almost feels like you're cheating, and the reaction your body has to it. If you ever carb cycle, let me tell you, your low carb days, you can feel a little sluggish. Medium carb day, you kind of get a little bit of lift of energy. But on that high carb day, you are cooking with gasoline on that day, man. Let me tell you, I get so hyped on high carb day. Hopefully this all made sense to you guys. I hope you enjoyed this little 3-part series. If you still haven't seen the last 2 episodes, go down to the description box below. You can find those. I started the carb cycling a little bit. I'm kind of toying with my plan, making sure I get everything dialed in, but I'm actually gonna start running a carb cycling series. It's a vlog series I'm gonna do on my channel where I'm gonna go through and document my progress. We're gonna do before pictures, after pictures. I'm pretty much gonna be vlogging like every day, every other day, showing you guys my progress with this diet, how I've adapted, how I've switched things up. And yeah, if you follow my Cutting with Keto series, it'll be very similar to that, except carb cycling. I am out of here, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this content. Hopefully I didn't ramble too long. I have a tendency to do that sometimes. But yeah, if you found this content valuable, make sure to hit that like button. That helps me out a lot and shows YouTube that you guys like my content. If you have any suggestions for new videos, comment below. If you have tried carb cycling and you're getting results with it, or if you've carb cycled in the past, leave a comment. Let me know about that too. I love hearing success stories and people that have made gains using styles of dieting that I recommend. So anyways, guys, I am out of here. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much. Don't forget to smile, pay someone a compliment, and stay positive, because you never know whose day you could be making better. Talk to you guys later. See ya.